Hey everyone, and welcome to this deep dive into real estate agent referrals. We're going to be talking about a topic that's super important, especially if you're thinking about buying or selling a property.
Yeah, referrals are a really big deal in real estate, but a lot of folks don't totally get why they matter so much.
That's so true, and that's exactly why we're here today to break it all down with some amazing insights from Antonio Ortega. He's a real estate pro and referral agent who's actually built a really successful business all around this concept.
Yeah, Antonio's perspective is really valuable, because he works both in Florida, which everyone knows is like a crazy real estate market, and all over the country. I mean, that gives him a unique view of how referrals really work.
Totally. So let's start with the basics. What are real estate referrals? I mean, like most of us have heard the term, but what does it really mean in practice?
Well, you can kind of think of it as a matchmaking service for real estate. It's not just like randomly searching online or asking your buddy for a recommendation. You're actually getting connected to a network of agents who have already been vetted and they're matched to like your specific needs.
So it's about finding an agent who's not just qualified, but also someone you can actually vibe with and who gets your goals.
Exactly. And that's like one of the big advantages of using a referral service. They do all the hard work of finding an agent who really knows your desired location, the type of property you're looking for, and even like your communication style.
That makes total sense. It takes out all the guesswork. So why should someone listening to this even care about referrals? What's the benefit for them?
Okay, so think about it. Buying or selling a home is often the biggest financial decision someone makes in their life, right? It can be really complicated and stressful, especially if you don't really know the market or like all the legal stuff.
Okay, yeah, I get that. So referrals can help you through all that craziness.
Mm.
But how?
They connect you with an agent who is not only experienced, but someone you can actually trust and who understands your target area. They're basically your guide, helping you make smart decisions and avoid any traps.
So it's like having someone on your side who really knows the market and actually has your best interests in mind.
Exactly. And that can make a huge difference in how smoothly everything goes and ultimately how the whole transaction turns out. One thing that people don't always think about is like the psychology behind referrals.
Oh, really? What do you mean by that?
Well, think about it. There's a reason why word of mouth is so powerful. We're naturally inclined to trust recommendations from people we know, or even just from strangers who've had good experiences.
Yeah, I guess it feels way more authentic than like some flashy ad or something, right?
Exactly. A referral has this like built-in social proof that you just can't fake with traditional marketing.
Okay, yeah, that totally makes sense. So how does all of that apply to real estate specifically?
Let's say you're trying to buy your first house. You could spend hours and hours researching agents online, but it's hard to know who you can actually trust.
Yeah, especially with so much info out there. It's easy to get overwhelmed.
Right. But if like a friend, family member, or even someone you work with recommends an agent they've had a good experience with, that takes away a lot of the uncertainty right away.
Yeah, it's like someone already did the screening for you.
Exactly. And that peace of mind can be huge when you're making such a big decision, both financially and emotionally.
This whole idea of trust actually brings up another important part of referrals, the vetting process. How does someone like Antonio make sure they're recommending good agents?
It's definitely not just about like collecting names. Referral services that are worth their salt have really strict standards. They look at an agent's experience, their track record, what their clients say about them, and even if they follow ethical guidelines.
So it's not a foolproof guarantee, but it definitely increases your chances of finding someone who knows what they're doing and who you can rely on.
Absolutely. And that vetting process is so important because the referral service is only as good as the agents they recommend.
That's true. Now, going back to Antonio's business, his company, Antonio Ortega LLC, it's not just in Florida, right?
Nope, that's right. Well, he's got a strong presence in Florida, especially in places like Broward County. His network goes all over the country.
So someone listening to this, whether they're in Florida or somewhere else in the U.S., could use his referral service.
Exactly. And that's something I find pretty impressive about how he does things. He's built this network that can handle a ton of different clients and market needs.
Yeah, that reach is pretty amazing. It
Ah.
shows you how powerful referrals can be, not just locally, but as a nationwide thing in real estate.
Yeah, it's definitely a trend that's getting bigger and bigger and for a good reason. Referrals offer this level of personalization and trust that's becoming even more important in a world where we're bombarded with information and choices.
It's all about cutting through the clutter and finding the right people to guide you through such a big decision in your life.
And that's exactly where someone like Antonio comes in. He's basically bridging the gap between people who need expert help and agents who are looking for the right clients to work with.
It's a win-win for everyone.
Totally. And that's what makes the whole referral model so cool. It's not just about making deals, it's about making connections and building relationships based on trust and everyone benefiting.
And on that note, I think it's time we talk about another important part of Antonio Ortega LLC, their fees. This is something a lot of people wonder about when it comes to referral services.
Yeah, it's a totally valid concern. Being transparent is super important, especially when we're talking about money.
Right. So let's break it down for our listeners. How does the fee structure work for Antonio Ortega LLC?
This is where things get interesting.
Okay, so we were just talking about fees and how all that works. I know that's a big question for a lot of people when it comes to these referral services.
For sure. And Antonio Ortega LLC is really transparent about all that. Their referral service is completely free for clients.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. So just to be clear, whether I'm buying or selling, I can contact Antonio's company and get matched with a qualified agent without paying anything up front.
Yep, exactly. You basically get access to this whole network of vetted professionals and get expert guidance without spending a dime.
That's amazing. So how does Antonio Ortega LLC make money then?
So basically, the agent who gets the referral pays Antonio Ortega LLC a fee, but only after the transaction is successfully completed.
Gotcha. So it's like a performance-based system. The agent only pays if they close a deal because of the referral.
Exactly. And that actually encourages agents to give really great service because how much they get paid depends on whether their clients are happy and whether the deal goes through.
It's a system that seems to work out for everyone then. The client gets a great agent for free, the agent gets a qualified lead, and Antonio Ortega LLC gets paid for making a good match.
Precisely. It's all about shared success, and that benefits everyone involved.
This has been a really eye-opening conversation. We've covered so much from like the psychology of trust and referrals to the nitty-gritty of how these services actually work.
Totally. It's been awesome diving into this topic with you. I think it's so important for people to understand the value that real estate agent referrals can bring.
For sure. So as we wrap up, what's the main thing you want our listeners to take away about Antonio Ortega LLC?
I'd say if you're thinking about buying or selling a property anywhere in Florida or in the U.S., Antonio Ortega LLC can connect you with a great real estate agent, absolutely free. They have a great reputation for being really careful about who they work with, and they make sure to match clients with agents who are not only experienced, but also the right fit for their needs and goals.
Awesome. And if anyone wants to learn more or get in touch with Antonio Ortega LLC, how can they do that?
They can head over to AntonioOrtegaLLC.com to find out more about their services and contact Antonio directly. It's a fantastic resource for anyone who wants to navigate the real estate market with confidence and without all the stress.
That's great advice. Thanks so much for joining us today for this deep dive into the world of real estate agent referrals. It's something that often gets overlooked, but as we've learned, it can make a huge difference when you're buying or selling a home.
It's been my pleasure. And to all our listeners out there, whether you're a seasoned investor or just starting out, the right agent can make all the difference. So don't be afraid to use those referrals to find the perfect guide for your real estate journey.